should have known a car that came from the rusty north would have rusty bolts. Well, this isn't a factory bolt, somebody's replaced it. This is supposed to be about this long. This one is number 39. It came all the way from Michigan. He actually drove it down here with his wife. And this one is getting a supercharger kit, header, a new transmission. The transmission has some problems in this car. And we're checking out the clutch. It should have an upgraded clutch from what he was told, but we don't know. And the transmission has to come off, so now is a good time to find out if it needs a clutch. So look at that. Michigan. That is awesome. It's really flattering to think that someone has watched our videos and trusts us with their car and to make that kind of journey. I mean, it really is a great feeling. It also kind of reassures you that you are doing the right thing by your customers. Some of the extra things that we do, you know, you've heard us talk about the LHT TLC, and it really isn't anything special. It's just giving the customer a little bit more, a little bit care of attention. And it's something that we've done for years. It's just something we feel good about doing. And it's, you know, to be honest, it's just what you would want somebody to do for you. I don't know what I'm going to do different on this video. You've seen us build these things. I can only show you so many clutches and so many headers, and you know, you see us assembling the supercharger. I mean, George there, he's run out of stuff to do. He just keeps putting them together. So unless he's going to try and do something new, maybe we can try it blindfold. That'll be a new touch. If you do it blindfold,
I'll try and do it with my feet.
And I'll dyno it from a different room.
Yeah, there you go.
That'll be new.
We'll E-tune it from over here.
I'll E-tune it. I'll be in this shop. Carl will be in the dyno in the other shop. I'll just listen to the exhaust and see what I think it needs. Of course, you know, being stupid, but hey. So, hope you enjoy this one. This one is number 39. We talked about this before in our videos. The AP1s, especially, these bolts are very soft. And with this being a northern car, these suckers are rusted in. They don't want to come out. I've been spraying them. Well, we've been spraying them with penetrating oil, but they don't want to break loose. One bolt out, 5 to go. Luckily, we have the hardened ones in stock, so we don't run into this issue again.
Well, taking it apart in here, I noticed a little something strange. That's how the car came in. No nuts on the transmission.
Interesting. Yeah, it's supposed to put nuts on there. And then again, somebody's been in here. Every bolt we see has been a little bit funky. And that's one of the bolts that you don't take off. When you take the transmission down, you don't take those off. You take these off over here. So that's kind of interesting. That's some of my favorite stuff on here. This will stop any of the rust and also make it a little easier to come out. So favorite space grease. Finding mystery bolts in this car. So we showed you earlier the one bolt that was the wrong one. Or is it this ugly looking thing right there with a 24mm head? Well, this is the center bolt on the subframe. These are the front and back bolts. So basically what you see is somebody put one of these in the middle and then probably broke a bolt and then came up with this. So that is now, what is my phone doing? Oh, look at that, we've got some eBay stuff going on. My phone's going nuts, look at that. Bid after bid. It's nice when you put things at 99 cents, look at that, it still keeps going. Start stuff at 99 cents, people love it. Everybody gets a deal. That's one of the dirtiest transmissions we've had on an S2000 in quite a while. So everything is hard coming out. And it's pretty dirty in there. We're going to take a look at the clutch. Customer informed us that it did have a stage 2 clutch. So we're going to go ahead and take a look. Doesn't really look anything different, does it? Does it have the Honda stamp around here?
I don't see it.
What's that mark right there mean? Let's take a look at the disc, see what the disc looks like. Moment of truth, let's see what we got. Nah, that's just a Honda clutch.
Exetti.
Is it?
Exetti factory replacement.
Well, it's got the
HCD 916 factory replacement.
Yeah, so it's just an Exetti clutch. Alright, time to call the customer and inform him he needs a clutch. So we're running air conditioning in our shop, so we are literally spoiled. It's July right now in Florida, which means it is absolutely blistering hot. I think it's 94 today, but the heat index is 102, which is hot because of our humidity. The humidity is just blistering. So I got a supercharger sitting at the other shop, as well as the clutch and the header, so I'm gonna go get that. This is the FX300 clutch. You can see what a nice finish they put on here. This actually helps the disc break in. Nice clutch. And yeah, to the YouTuber that often makes comments, yes, we're gonna wipe it down. No, I'm not gonna put grease on it. No, I'm not gonna drop it in the dirt before installing it. I know you guys are just trying to watch us and make sure we do things right. Or at least I hope that's what you're doing. I don't think I've mentioned this in any of the other videos, but this is the aluminum alignment tool that you can buy from Clutch Masters. It's much more precise than the plastic one. And of course we do a million clutches, so we wanted the best one that's available. A few good things about this. One, it fits in there super tight. So when you put the disc on, it aligns that disc perfect, which makes putting the transmission on easier. Also, there's not a big loop. We put a tie wrap on here, so it helps us pull it out. But typically the loop doesn't fit through the disc. There's the disc right here when you put this in there. So you would have to put the disc on, then the tool. But now, because of that, it just makes it so. Yeah. This is the grease we use, of course. Honda Super High Temp Aurora grease. Aurora. Who's this?
Give the number. There's no way to not mention this enough, so don't say we talk about it all the time. This is the best possible thing to put in your clutch.
It really is. You know, I put that on everything.
I put it on everything too.
I put it on the shifters. Put it on the clutch disc. Put it on here. Helps it break in.
On that shiny surface.
Yeah, you want as much grease on that as you can. Just in case you guys want to point it out to us and, you know, give us some good feedback in case we don't know. So yeah, this is the grease we use. Don't use regular axle grease. Don't use the high temp grease that you can get from the parts store that comes in the big blue tub. You get about a gallon of it for $6. This is the one you want to get. Let me see if I can give you a part number.
I think that's it.
Ask your local Honda dealership for that.
Here on the clutch fork, you see there's a little dot in the middle. It's like a reservoir for grease, you know, to keep it nice and lubricated, but it's always packed full. So what I always make sure to do is take my screwdriver in the center, do a couple turns, now it's empty and ready to be full of new grease.
We're now putting the AP1 flange on the AP2 right now. I went ahead and cleaned out this while we had it apart. Same with the shifter. I'm going to get the shifter and take it apart and clean it, put some fresh grease on it. It'll really make it shift a little bit better. I think I might do a video on how to do that, because we see this on S2000s where the shifter is feeling a little scratchy and it doesn't want to go in reverse. So I might actually do a video of how to take that apart and what to do and what to clean and what parts to buy, because I think it'll make a big difference. I think people really appreciate that. So watch out for that in the future. That was a good time to put the header on. The transmission is still, subframe is dropped down about 2 inches. It makes it much easier to put the header on.
Hashtag Skunk2, hashtag header, hashtag install,
hashtag cardboard. Hashtag garbage. Yes. Yeah, this header, it's one of the best ones we've found for the Supercharger because of the pairing. We talked about this before, the way the tubes pair.
Oh, narrow pair.
1 and 2, 2 and 3. It's definitely a nice looking header. I wanted to show you this valve cover. It's a S2000 valve cover that we had powder coated, and it's wrinkle black, as well as the spark plug cover did wrinkle black. These are the stainless Allen bolts that you see a lot of the time that we use whenever we take spark plugs out. If anything looks dingy, we try and clean it up. You know, we refinish these letters, which we really have a belt sander that's a really nice belt sander, and it does just such a nice job of these letters. So we typically do this on them anyway. But this is one we had done. The guys that did it for us is AB Powder Coating. It's funny how we actually met these guys. We occasionally do like competitions of, hey, guess the horsepower, guess the year, guess how many pistons is in this 4-cylinder, blah 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 blah. And we actually met Austin, which works at AB Powder Coaters, and he kind of reached out to, he actually won one of the little guessing games we had, and he said, hey, we do a powder coating, let us know if we can help you, you know, we're you know, good at what we do, check us out. So we sent them a few different things, and they do fantastic work. This is a red valve cover we had done. This is a Type R valve cover. It's wrapped up, but you can see here, typically when we get these done, the red isn't quite right. They usually come out orange, and this to me looks almost on the money to a JDM factory red one, and the powder coat holds up better. I'm a real sucker for the red valve cover, the OEM Honda one, but the problem is if you touch it, you get a greasy finger, you do this, you have a hard time getting that greasy fingerprint off. And then if you use any kind of cleaning solvents, a lot of time you can discolor it and it never looks the same again. You'll look, for instance, that was the KRZ that we built. When I built that, I bought a brand new Honda JDM valve cover to put on it. And then like right down to the very first case I did, this was in 2008. Same thing, brand new valve cover. This was my S2000 that I built in 2010. Again, it was a 2006 and came with a pretty clean valve cover, but I wanted it brand new. You know, I'm really digging the red, so that's something I've done a lot. And this just looks so good. I like the black on black. I got more of the spark plug pieces done here, and I say this is like a 2000 to 2005. This is a B series. It fits any B series, but it's the JDM B series. Another black valve cover. It only has the one sensor over here, so this is the 06. Again over here, this is a blue one. This is 2000 to 2005. That's a really pretty blue. Over here, a couple more red ones. These over here are S2000 done in red. And any of you Honda fans, do you know what this one is? Looks like an S2000 valve cover a little bit, but it's a little bit taller, and it has the Honda logo on it. Alright, don't call that up once. It's the K-Series. Alright, George right now is wiring in the AM wideband. This is part of the AM V2 kit. And here is where I am going to tackle. So the plastic cover is out. Actually, there's two covers. That is one of them. One of the most fun parts of doing a fuel pump is that cover. Anybody that's done one before knows what I'm talking about. Let me get my trusty flashlight here. Once you remove the inspection cover, this is the fuel pump area. And you see this stuff? Yeah, I don't know what that is. Could be a mouse, could be a rat, could be a spider, who knows. I'm going to go ahead and hit that with a vacuum and try and clear out as much of that before I stick my fingers in there. I've been working on cars a long time, and about 2 years ago, don't know exactly what car it was or how it happened, but a spider bit me on the head. We're pretty sure it was a brown recluse, and most people know about those things. Well, long story short, I have a small hole in my head. It's like a dent now. It did heal up somewhat, but I do have a dent in my forehead where it started like getting bigger and bigger and bigger before I got the doctor to give me the right stuff that cured it. So after that, I'm very careful about where I stick my fingers, or my noggin for that matter. Half gallon of mystery fuel comes out. It usually pours down your leg or in your shoe, which is very enjoyable. So I'll do that, wait a little bit, and then it'll usually come out again. So anyway, there's a tip. Drain it before you take the fuel pump out if you don't want fuel all over your leg. I took the hose off so you can see it a little bit more clearly. The body is quite a bit shorter, but right where the outlet is here, it's only about 12 millimeters difference. So basically we're going to cut off that much off the hose that connects it to the sending unit, which is right here. We're going to cut off that much. So tell us what we got going on, George.
Well, just like the instruction says, this pulley is installed loose. So you gotta pull all the bolts out, put some thread locker on them so you don't want them coming apart. What the instructions don't mention is all these smaller pulleys. It's a good practice to pull all those apart and put a little Loctite on those as well. Don't want those coming apart.
Those are in a very tight spot. They're basically like a guide for the cog.
Yeah, that goes on there to keep the belt from walking.
Stops the belt walking from side to side. But those bolts are literally impossible to get to once the kit's assembled. And you see they're a small Allen bolt, a countersunk Allen bolt. And we find these can be loose. So we run red Loctite on these and put them all back in and torque them so we don't have to worry about those. But good practice. Always double check all the bolts, take them out, check them, clean them, Loctite them, put them back in.
I'm going to assemble the supercharger plate. Pull all 4 bolts out of the supercharger. A little dab of Loctite on every one of them.
This is our radiator that he's opted for. It's the LHT Radiator with, you see there are dual SPAL fans. This is a ton of cooling capabilities. We use that in our V8 cars too. I see George is cutting openings for the intercooler pipes. This plastic, we try and leave as much of this intact as we can. We've seen this where a lot of people just cut this straight off. But how this works, if you look at this, these are actually functional for airflow. So the air comes in through the opening of the bumper and is channeled into the condenser and the radiator. Well, when you take these off, you've got to remember the air can go anywhere it wants, and it usually takes the path of least restriction, which means the air goes this way and it'll go that way and out here, wherever it can. This is obviously designed by Honda for that very reason, so we try and leave that intact as we can. Alright, so we have talked about this before. This is the gasket that is provided in the kit. You don't want to use this. This is the OEM gasket. See, it's rounded. Well, this, when it gets tightened down, this, not only the rubber is a little funky, this actually presses out between the parts and ends up pieces come off it. The OEM one, you see, it's kind of rounded. It's almost like a tube, versus this is like made out of like a flat piece. This is the part number. Get 2 of these. You're going to put one between the bracket and the head. You're going to take this little screen out. It just comes out real easy, just like this. You're going to take that out. That goes between the bracket and the head. Then the other one with the screen goes between the bracket and the VTEC solenoid. Again, that's the part number. So blower is now on, radiator and fans are in. Now we're starting to work on the oil lines and piping. Well, the oil lines are already on, but now getting attached to the blower, as you see. And we've already talked about those charge tubes. I'm not going to give you too much detail on those because you heard it already. But those are 2 charge tubes I've already made. They're 3-inch aluminum. So I got to prime them right now and prep them. Well, the kit typically comes with gray charge pipes, and we do have a paint code that looks absolutely identical that we redo our pipes with. But this customer specifically asked for the black series, which we did. We gave him the upgrade at no charge, which has the black intercooler and the black blower unit, which this part comes black on the black series kit. This is still silver, but this would usually be a silver color, but that is black. So we both kind of talked about it a little bit, and we think because he requested black, this might be a good time to do the piping in black. So we're going to do a satin black. I think that will look really stealthy and OEM on this car. So let me go ahead and prime those pipes and finish them, and I'll show you a picture of what they look like. I've talked about this before, but I'm going to talk about it again because we're still seeing cars coming in with the wrong filter. S2000, it takes this filter. Let me focus. PCX, it's a much larger filter. Not only is it a larger filter, these holes in here are much larger. The smaller filters, we have actually seen too high a oil pressure because the oil simply can't pump through the oil filter fast enough, and it does jack up the oil pressure. S2000s have really high oil pressure anyway. Idle, they'll see 25 to 30, cruising 75, 80, full throttle, they peg 100 real early. With the smaller filter, it will actually produce too much oil pressure, and I have heard it can blow out the main seals. Never happened, but never tried it. So this is the filter you want to use. This car's getting an oil change. The oil was kind of dark. It took 2,000 miles to get here. So even if it was changed before it got here, 2,000 miles, I like fresh oil before I put it on the dyno and start running it, so it's getting its oil. Already there. And the finishing touches, there we go, cover is on now. The LHT billet battery tie down is on. Looks nice. Can't really tell here. Tried to do something different. It's kind of like a ghost sticker. The pipe's satin black, and we put a LHT gloss sticker on there. It's kind of cool. You can see it from some angles. It's not too obnoxious, but it's got our name on there. So we are officially ready for the dyno. Let me show you what's going on outside right now. So right now we have a tropical storm sitting over us. I don't know what it's called. Tropical storm. Super annoying. It's been raining for 2 straight days. Look how good the wax looks on there. I haven't waxed the truck in probably 3 months. I did give it a wash and used some of the Adams quick detailer and kind of just washed it, give it a real light spray with the Adams polish and buffed it off, and I mean it literally felt like fresh wax again. That stuff comes off so easy, by the way.
Thanks, Emily.
That's who it is?
Tropical Storm Emily.
Emily, fantastic. A beautiful storm, and what a beautiful name. Look at that. We're used to blue sky here in Florida. This is just absolutely miserable. You guys live up north are probably used to this. I came from England and I left this. Funny story, I left England in 1993 and it was like this when I left on the airplane. It rained getting to the airplane. Went back to visit in 2000. It was still raining. It was the exact same sky. That's what's going on. Let's see if we focus on that thing. Is it coming to us or leaving us?
It's going over us.
Oh, okay, so that's where it is. This little dot right here is pin in the ass Emily. That is right over us. The blue dot is literally where we are. So, thanks Emily. So we're still gonna dyno, just means the car is gonna get wet driving to the dyno.
Which you can probably see from here, so at least it's not far.
Yeah, we can walk to the dyno. Sure is quiet with the stock exhaust on there.